All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the Manila Masters. Qualifiers coming at you, of course, with the Chinese region. We got our first round matchup. Continuing action, we got VG.J going up against LGD Gaming. VG.J taking the first game. And overall, it was just a fun draft on either side. In fact, that's one of those games I highly recommend if you happen to miss it. Here, you go back and watch that one, because that was just not necessarily the top tier Dota 2, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to watch, I'll say that. But it was actually very well played by VG.J, to be fair. LGD, on the other hand, they had some miscues. They did have some fun stuff themselves, including the Lina die strat, which is very interesting. But here we are in game number 2. Again, a bit of it was outdraft, as my co-caster Tsunami was suggesting. So obviously, starts with the draft here. We'll see how adjustments are made. But OD first ban right off the bat here for VG.J. Already something pretty different, actually.
Yeah, I hope LGD don't feel scared about stepping outside of the box a little bit, because they didn't really get rewarded for their thinking in that first game, which at least VG.J was also picking kind of off-the-wall picks, like Tusk, not commonly seen, Silencer mid, not commonly seen. So both teams are still, like, they're not in that 7.02 mentality still. They're trying new stuff out. Although, again, that was game 1, and so it's possible that teams may be going back to old staples for game 2, at least LGD might, but maybe that's why VG.J are banning out OD, a hero that I'm never thought to be considered first ban material in this patch, or even 7.02 for that matter.
Yeah. No, I don't think he was banned or picked in the previous game, too, which to me is what really kind of just throws things off a little bit. I mean, I guess he could have been banned. I wasn't necessarily 100% paying attention to it, but point is that, yeah, it's not your typical first ban, especially as you're getting at. Now, Coddle, on the other hand, has definitely kind of stepped up to be a top priority ban in a lot of ways and taken out here, but look at that, it leaves open a hero like Centaur, and VG.J will gladly pick it up. You know, again, I was glancing at the top picked heroes and stuff here for both these teams, and VG.J, one of their top picks is that Centaur, and they're 5-0 with this hero in the last month here. So again, he got the slight nerfs, as you mentioned. Okay, 50% damage reduction now. Oh my gosh, so awful. No, he's still just fine. The axe effect is definitely something you want to get still.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere anytime soon, and it also doesn't surprise me that Starter is also still commonly banned and commonly picked, as we saw in Game 1. Keeper, the nerfs to him were marginal at best. Mana Leak got like a 1-second duration reduction at all levels, and I think it had a nerf to its mana cost itself, but regardless, the hero is still very good, which is why I've been liking these past few balance patches of the game. They're not completely sending top-tier heroes to the dumpster. It's just like, okay, you had your fun with so-and-so hero. Maybe now it's time to pick something a little bit more uncommon. You can have your anchor heroes, like last game we saw the Slaughter, which was a common pick. This game we see the Centaur, which is a common pick. And although LGD, as I suspected, are going to more comfort heroes, Nyx Assassin and Lifesteal are also heroes that we saw very commonly for the past few months.
Yeah, I'm expecting, again, as you're putting it, a much more typical draft here. Especially out of LGD being game 2 and, again, down 1-0. Like I said, it is double elimination, so worst case, you're still in it. But last thing you want to do is go down to the loser's bracket right off the bat, because that makes that treacherous ride that much harder as far as advancing on in this event. Again,
yeah, especially because if they do go down, they're going to be playing the loser of CDEC versus Wings.
Yeah.
And so chances are you're probably going to face CDEC in that situation, but that's still a very intimidating team to go up against.
Yeah, they were a team that made the playoffs of the Kiev qualifiers.
Exactly.
There. Yeah. They got second in the groups, as I'm kind of referencing right here. So, yeah, definitely not what you want to be doing here. But so they got a consistent draft here so far, at least a typical one. Again, Tusk, the second pick for VG.J. Again, he played very well that first game, FY, playing it there, and not surprised to see it again. Already the making of a definitely mobile-heavy team, a roam-heavy team early on. I'm expecting that again. this time
Yeah,
around.
which I'm curious what carry they'll go for. If I were LGD, part of me would consider respect banning the gyrocopter this go around
Oh
because
gosh.
I mean, aggressive. He's played the hero like plenty. It's not just some brand new 7.03. Let me see what this hero is capable of. That's been an aggressive signature hero for a long time, and I, LGD are a little bit more prepared. I kept calling out how in the draft last game they didn't have the best defensive heroes. They didn't have very mobile heroes, and those were all just easy pickings for a gyrocopter. This game, they're a little bit better off, so maybe they won't ban the gyrocopter, and maybe VG.J won't even consider it. But still, it's a very formidable force in aggressive's hand.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those cases. It did feel like it was more of a reaction also to the draft of LGD again, especially with that last
True.
pick, Meepo. So it's kind of that's going through the process right now of LGD. I'm sure with this fourth ban, it's like, do we respect ban it, or are we confident that it won't be as strong? It does feel like a Nyx lifestealer, no doubt, has potential to be pretty good against the likes of something like Jarl. Good for getting on top of him, and obviously sitting on top of him with those open wounds, especially after the infest bomb. So. Like in the start, a lot better for LGD. Obviously, a very, very strong duo of heroes. But we'll see with this fourth ban right here, if that's something that's going through their mind or not. But Timbersaw going to be taken away by VG.J so far. On the other side, Timbersaw, again, just another one of these just very solid laning heroes. And one that could lane in many different areas. Really, every single lane he has an option for, mid, top, or bottom. But not going to see it here.
Yeah, and he's a hero that punishes strength heroes, which VGJ have already picked too, and definitely punishes aggression as well. So I'm starting to understand the OD ban a little bit more. It's unsurprising that VGJ are going to continue the same strategy that led them to success in Game 1, which was just every time you see an opportunity for a kill, you go for it. And all these heroes that VGJ are banning out are heroes that are good at being like, no, we're going to stop the action right here. I'll Astral a target. I'm going to mana leak you. Timbersaw will come in and Whirling Death your two strength heroes, and maybe I'll just throw down a Global Silence on top of that. VGJ don't want to have to deal with any of that. They want to make sure that their heroes are able to do what they do best and not be interrupted by any rotations.
That Razor ban, a little curious. I was actually, again, had the Dota buff stats up right here, and Razor's not been picked by VG.J within the last month at least or so, and it almost kind of just feels like out of left field right there, throwing up that Razor.
Yeah, it's, I imagine, because they were concerned about Lifestealer being counterpicked, but I don't really think VG.J has ever been the kind of team to just be like, oh, yeah, let's counter that one hero.
Yeah.
That's the hero that we're going to worry about.
Yeah.
And like Razor didn't even really get that many significant buffs in 7.03. He got both of his level 10 talents got buffed, but just marginally at best, just like 5 more move speed and 5 more agility. It's a surprising ban, I agree. And hopefully LGD don't fall into the trap of
Thinking too much.
Exactly.
Gonna play your game. Yeah, and I will say it is worth mentioning, of course, when it comes to the Chinese scene, I'm not very, very familiar with a lot of the teams and the players, and obviously these guys, they play a lot against each other. So for all we know, they've seen them play it in pub games / scrims constantly, whoever would be the option of playing it right here, and that could be a possibility, of course. But just going off simply raw data here from tournament play, at least, again, have not played it, but they will pick up Invoker, and I'm loving this lineup for LGD because the synergies there with the Nyx now, as well as the Invoker with the Sunstrike combo. This is a good lineup here on their side.
It's definitely a more stable lineup. I mean, I'm happy for LGD, but at the same time, this is looking like shades of Kiev qualifiers and stuff like that. I'm not seeing any exotic picks this go around, but there is definitely significantly more synergy for LGD, and they're much better equipped to deal with not only VG.J's playstyle, but VG.J's heroes as well. They go for a TA to go for the mid lineup against the Invoker. TA is obviously going to have the advantage in that situation, and so VG.J, they are good at being able to follow up on LGD's picks. Like last time, we had mentioned how the Gyrocopter was kind of like a specific pick for that situation, and it did work out because they had that Meepo, and that was late game insurance, and then obviously the early game capabilities of the gyrocopter played in well with VG.J's draft. And this game, same situation. Templar Assassin, very aggressive hero early on, able to do tower dives and survive and be able to follow up on initiation pretty well if she completes that early Blink Dagger and Desolator. And then that's just more synergy with this Juggernaut, who's also a very aggressive hero and hopefully an Arcana wearing one.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. There's been some fun talk about that. Didn't they actually change the model
They
even?
did.
Yeah.
And I if it is an Arcana, they added another style because everyone was just like, it's blue. And that looks just like the PA one. And so they added an alternate style. If you get 10 Omni-Slash kills, then you unlock the red style. So we'll see. I hope I haven't seen the red one yet, so I hope that Aggressive has been doing some pubs in the past like 5 hours since the patch dropped.
It literally came out less than 48 hours ago, guys. Come on. That would be fun, though, to possibly see that. Hopefully he comes through for us for sure. They last pick a Dazzle here on the side of VG.J. Of course, they need another support, definitely, and Dazzle's going to bring them some defensive presence here, as well as some armor stacking, if necessary. And, Axe a final pick from LGD. Well, that's a fun finish right there. And is that going to be is that a true jungle axe, or is this going to be a support Nyx with an offlane axe here? What do we think?
Yeah, I think it'll be like a Iron Talon axe who basically jungles the offlane jungle, and then once Nyx Assassin hits level 6, then Axe will take over the lane. That's what I'm expecting, at least, because otherwise this Lifestealer is not going to be able to do very much if no one's helping him bomb, and Axe can complete a pretty quick Blink Dagger if he's just exclusively jungling, but I imagine he's going to have to help out this Nyx Assassin because a Tusk and a Juggernaut and a Dazzle in a tri-lane or even just like a roaming situation with the Tusk and the Dazzle, it's not easy for even a pretty safe offlaner like Nyx Assassin to deal with.
All right, loading in here. Obviously, that strategy time now being added to Captain's Mode, so they're going to take advantage of that, going to pre-purchase some items and go over the mini-map there. And I'm glad that they added. I'm actually a little surprised that wasn't added to Captain's Mode initially, because it seems like
pretty much
perfect
every
for it.
single competitive player was just like, I don't understand why you would give pubs this and not give us this who can actually like take advantage of it. Like I've played a fair amount of pubs, and like only once or twice have we had like these smoke up and then immediately TP out kind of situations. And I'm not 9K, but like still.
But I'm 8K, and I feel like it should be.
Oh man, they really need to add the logos to the side, and that'll just be like the cherry on top. I'm just psyched that the screen exists, though.
Right now, I'm so amped. I'm extra amped. I'm like, oh my god, this is like, we're anime now, boys. We're ready. All right. There's a Sunstrike Scout to start things off, and here we go. And the lack of the initial pause also feels good, man. Going to the game right here. God, the spam pings, though. Doing it once again.
I'm telling you. Oh, wait, actually, this time it was ROTK. Last time it was aggressive. You were just like, there's a ward here. There's a goddamn ward here.
It's like, the game literally just started, man. He actually was telling me where to place it.
Counter this ward.
Counter this ward that has to be there, or at least it will be. He blocks his own camp, by the way. Very interesting there. The top board.
He's expecting this axe to basically be rotating around. I've been seeing it more and more commonly, especially against like enchantresses or chens, because sometimes they'll just like steal your creep, and as a carry or as like a solo laner, you're not ever going to make use of that camp, so might as well just block it out.
Yeah. Look at this smoke gank attempt. This could get close. Oh, the snowball. Everyone joins the party. And they're going to connect, and now M99, JY, he's fine.
Yeah, they were very well positioned for that. This Axe was sitting on this top rune, and the fact that you don't see anyone, and you see VG.J's draft, you're like, you guys should probably play it safe in the bot lane.
Yeah. So it is going to be a 2-2 bounty rune, though. Obviously, at the top up here, you have XZ on Axe. He's going to pick up that top bounty rune. So, again, the split will be even, but they win for that first blood, coming up short, though.
Yeah, VG.J is going to be dodging, or well, not dodging. Instead, I guess LGD is going to be dodging. There's no way this Crystal Maiden. Who's laning bot for LGD?
Solo Crystal Maiden. You haven't heard of this before?
Oh, of course. The hard carry CM.
The 4 Tango 3 Clarity Potion Solo Crystal Maiden build? I mean, this is what I see in my 3K pubs all the time. This isn't normal?
That's true. They were on the ground floor of the meta. I guess they're just sacrificing the lane, but then, like, if you're Crystal Maiden, you just go into the jungle. You don't lane.
Seems odd, yeah.
You don't use Frostbite on a Dazzle.
This
I don't know
is
what
curious.
this situation is.
Let's not try to put logic to it. Let's just kind of sit back and watch what happens. But
fair enough.
Something very curious going on. I mean, clearly they show that they're trying to be innovative. We saw the whole Lena play last game, going that Bloodstone and the whole kill herself strategy and getting up quickly as a result. So they're not afraid to do some funky stuff here, to say the least. But yeah, Lifestealer, he's up at the top lane. Axe, obviously, he's essentially jungling aggressive up here. He doesn't have an Iron Talon, though. He chose to get the Stout Shield build with some regen instead.
I don't think LGD knew what the lanes were going to be, and they're not doing a very great job at adapting. Like, Tusk started out in the bot lane, and then he was like, oh, this Nyx Assassin isn't going to be off-laning. He's instead going to be playing Ogre Magi mid and helping out Invoker. And so Tusk came mid, and then, like, Crystal Maiden might die bot now if she gets hit by... Oh, no, she's going to TP out. Yeah, she's fine. She doesn't even TP back to base. She TPs back to the tower so that she can continue getting experience. Which, it's the right play, but, like, I don't know what these lanes are.
She won't have the pole camp right there. Obviously, it was blocked, so that's a good job by VG.J as well. So kind of hurting the cause, and yeah, Mud Golem not the friendliest. So he's going to look, probably will get this Hellbear Smasher over here.
Right.
As far as the farm goes. RTK
one lane that's going well is...
No,
yeah, it was the right idea to send Lifestealer up here. It's just like, I don't know why you wouldn't give him support and then send the Axe in the safe lane, because Centaur does have a tough time, as Nyx Assassin picked up an Invis rune, but he's still... Well, actually he's level 2, but hasn't skilled up anything yet.
Yeah. Or like you even said, you just essentially give up the bottom lane is fine, but yeah, it's just really curious decision-making here. Coming out, but again, Lifestealer, he's doing decent at the top lane. Here in the middle lane, maybe Reigns actually seems like he's doing pretty good against the TA. You got a 13-7 Invoker versus a 9-1 TA. So I mean, the lanes that they're in is actually working out pretty well. But Juggernaut, he is definitely feeling that free farm. He is, I got to think, near perfect, if not perfect, 21-6 as Freeze middle lane. He's going to take some pressure. The Cold Snap's coming out. He's going to try to turn on to maybe Rain, but has Dazzle support coming in. Shallow Grave there if necessary. In fact, Tusk, the Ice Shards are going to block Nyx Assassin. And do they have enough follow-up damage, though? The heal not really connecting, unfortunately, for damage. However, it's still going to be enough. First blood draw on FY. Credit for it.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, it was very well-positioned Ice Shards. Kept that Nyx Assassin. I mean, Nyx Assassin should have been able to get out in most situations, but he goes down and they get a very maximum efficiency shrine as everyone splits directions and goes their separate ways as they reunite briefly. And right now RTK wants to get his bounty rune. Gonna find XZ though, and XZ is doing well. He manages to complete his tranquil boots in the jungle and still hasn't gone for an Iron Talon. Instead, he has a smoke, but I don't really think there are very many targets for an Axe to gank at this stage of the game.
No, not the easiest. No, without that Combing Blade, of course. Not going to bring the most presence. Although Berserker's calls decent crowd control on the appropriate target. But again, bottom lane, Crystal Maiden sitting in the lane somewhat. She is level 4 actually, so she has that level 2 Arcane Aura now. She's leveling that up first, at least getting that second point in there. So heroes like Invoker especially are going to be benefiting from such aura early on in this game. Going to be liking
and now
that.
they send Ame back to the bot lane. He had his fun with Centaur top. Maybe they saw Dazzle, but even that isn't really enough of an incentive. But
okay, TA, he was trying to juke and jive right here, but there was no way he was getting out, especially with Crystal Maiden importing in, and then the freeze coming out. But now they know Lifestealer's vulnerable. Speaking of him at the bottom lane, Ame try to go through the Ice Shards, but obviously can't do that, so has to be forced to fight. Pops the open. Ooh, it's going for the turn kill, if anything. Not going to happen, though. Sunstrike will whiff right there on aggressive as he kind of walks it off, pops some regen, and back to farm he goes. So, well, it looked like a good decision, but then he ends up dying in the long run.
Yeah, he was in a tough situation. Nice Ice Shards.
The spinning Juggernaut, he joins the snowball, and they're going to get the kill on a Crystal Maiden as well. And Nyx, he's only level 3, so not going to be much of a presence yet. And the heal ward with Dazzle, that'll easily heal them on up to be fine.
Yeah, Ame, in that situation down inside the jungle area, he was sitting on Rage, but Aggressive was also sitting on Blade Fury, and so both of them were just waiting for one of them to pull the trigger on their spell, and then after Aggressive got some lucky crits, he was just like, wait, I don't even need the Blade Fury, I'll just right-click you to death.
Yeah. Feeling Good with that. He's got the early phase boots. Now, okay, Helm of the Dominator, another item that obviously got once again nerfed, and I think for good reason. It's clearly a very powerful item. You still expect to see it here on the likes of something like a Juggernaut?
I think so. He has this Bazzy ring right now, but I don't really think Vlad's is the play. He may go for the Aquila as they find Nyx Assassin hiding.
Wow.
He's pretty screwed.
Yeah, well, I mean, what does he do here? He has Impale, he has a spiked Carapace. He's going to throw out the Impale here eventually, but that's a spinning Juggernaut. Oh, the Sunstrike, though! He'll take him out.
Tower aggro. Yeah, Aggressive didn't want to have to eat his mango. He was sitting on it, and he didn't have the mana for Blade Fury, as meanwhile,
Whoa.
dual kills.
Well, ROTK got it first, though, on a life stealer, so you know what? That's fine for him.
It's definitely fine for him. Crystal Maiden gets a fair amount of experience killing a solo Centaur, but you do not want to have to trade your carry for that.
Yeah. 6.5 minutes in. But yeah, so you're still expecting that the Helm of the Dominator, though, on Juggernaut, it sounds like.
I would guess so, but Aggressive, as we saw last game, is known for less common builds. In this situation, I don't really see any justification not to go for the Helm, because there's no real reason to get an early Manta, I don't think, because, yeah, you can purge off Open Wounds, you can purge off Frostbite, but that's not really that big of a concern when you have Blade Fury. And then the other thing is maybe you go for, like, I don't know, like a Maelstrom. That's not too common. Battle Fury got buffed marginally, but you still don't really get it very commonly on a Juggernaut, so I'm imagining Helm, but we'll see what he does.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, again, even with some more nerfs, and I think justifiable, it's like, unless they change the aura effects of the health regen and the attack speed, it's as well as the dominating of the creep, of course, it's just still going to be so powerful. Yes, yeah, middle lane, they're collapsing. Now the Ghost Walk activated by Invoker, but that spin on top of the Sentry Ward's put down, and this should still be a kill as out comes the auto attack to finish the job. TA, meanwhile, in the background, the Omni Slash bouncing around actually secures the kill for a double tap coming out for Aggressive, and he wants more damage. He's going to be rid of those Shallow Grave, but guess what? Coaling Blade goes right on through it and cuts him down still, so at least they get the turn kill on the side of LGD. That has to feel somewhat satisfying there.
Yeah, that one spin at the last second put him right in range, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to get that Culling Blade off, but Axe coming in right place at the right time, unfortunately not soon enough to save the Invoker, so basically core for core being traded, but Juggernaut is still slightly more farmed than maybe, so works out for LGD.
Ame here, bottom lane. He's at 2,600 net worth. Obviously, it's been a little bit of a struggle here at the top lane. He was doing all right. Came bottom, though. Died now a couple of times, so really trying to recover. It looks like that armlet, of course, on cue, and going to be picked up next for him with the phase boots early on. But once he gets that, you do have the Nyx once again, who's not level 6 yet, but ideally will be level 6 by the time that armlet's picked up. And then we let the roam ganking begin for LGD. At least that's what you'd figure would be the game plan right here, of course, with the Sunstrike synergy as mentioned. And Axe on top of that, who did get the Vanguard first, and yeah, his farm's actually pretty good, isn't it? The Vanguard, the Tranquil, and I would think the Blink Dagger next, but we'll see what he goes
it
for.
would have to be the Blink Dagger next. They do have some exceptional pick-off capabilities, but VG.J also have some really good disengage. Aggressive has his Blade Fury, so he can get out of most situations. Snowball is great for being able to bail yourself out, and then obviously Stampede on top of all of that, and that's just assuming that Dazzle isn't around with his Shallow Grave. So if VG.J have as good positioning as they did in Game 1, it's still going to be difficult for LGD to get good jumps, and their draft is definitely engineered more towards it than it was in Game 1, but still, it's not the easiest thing to execute.
Tusk, meanwhile, trying to harass Lifestealer a bit. Will throw out the Walrus Punch, actually, as he realizes they're trying to go on him. He'll snowball Sunstrike. He avoids it as a result, but FY, I don't know if he's still out of the woods just yet, literally. In fact, Stampede will help him get out of the woods. Now another Ice Path coming in. Here comes a spinning Juggernaut. Crystal Maiden at least dead. Shallow Grave just in case for the Tusk right here. As Lifestealer walks away, though, so not only buying the time to stay alive, but he sets up a turn kill on a Crystal Maiden. And now Aggressive back to farm here at the bottom lane, and look at that queued up. He has this Yasha going to be coming out, so yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, he got that casual Yasha last game, so I'm not 100% sure that he's actually going to finish into a Manta style, but I mean, that whole exchange was just like literally exactly what I described. The Snowball was there to buy time, and then the Stampede was there to get him out, and then the Grave on top of that just in case if they needed it. It's not easy for LGD to find these kills, and if they don't get like a Blink initiation, they'll be wasting their time, in my opinion, if they try to go for these plays. And Freeze on this Templar Assassin actually going to be going for the Blink Dagger first, and as opposed to the Desolator. Both are viable options. It all just depends on how your team wants to play and how you want to play as a TA. But Blink Dagger is just going to add on to the amounts of counter engage that VG.J can present as on the top lane. Nyx Vendetta dusted immediately.
I mean, it's like they knew he was right here. The dust comes out, and if you're Nyx, you almost feel bad for him that he's like, he's just setting up for it, like what he should be doing. He just got Vendetta. He's like, all right, I got my new toy, and then time to try it out.
That's the trap, though, because as soon as you hit level 6, people are looking at the scoreboard and they're like, well, this dude's level 6 and we don't see him on the map. Let's try to just go face first with the smoke and see what we can get. And they get the kill, and not only does that mean that Vendetta's on cooldown for a while, but they're going to be able to get this tier 1 push most likely as well.
And talk about the Blink Dagger on TA, just about there. Now, obviously, Centaur just getting his as well. So when it comes to the jump here from VG.J now, we're talking about the Nyx and the Lifestealer and everything coming online. It's VG.J is going to come online that much quicker, though, with their items especially that we're seeing being picked up right here. They're going to be the ones that try to control the momentum of this game, and so far are definitely doing that. In fact, Tusk, obviously, he's already had plenty of farm. He's almost level 8, and this Tusk, I guess he's down there on the net worth, but it feels like his items are reflecting pretty good. He has a buckler being finished, and he has the arcane boots on top of that. So we're going to see the mech most likely coming up to follow. And
this Tusk has more, basically the combined net worth of Nyx Assassin and Crystal Maiden put together. And I mean, Tusk isn't a hero who really needs a lot of net worth. He's good just by his spells himself. The fact that you can put something like a mechanism on top of that just makes VG.J's early mid-game presence all the more intimidating, as now they look like they're going to be smoking up, and Aggressive has Omni-Slash locked and loaded, so hopefully they can find something like the Invoker.
Yeah, interesting, because he got the medallion last game, actually. I was almost expecting that again here. It seemed like it would have yet again made sense, but like some more of the team fight items, of course, with the Arcane into the mech now. As there's another Dust.
Nice
Guess what they found again? I mean, he didn't even have Vendetta up, or he wasn't even using it right there, but didn't matter.
That was such a good guess. Like, the smoke popped, and really there's only, like, 2 spots that an enemy could be. Either they're farming this camp, or they're down somewhere in this bounty rune area, and Centaur guesses right, shows off his Blink Dagger, and they get yet another kill on the Nyx Assassin.
Oh boy.
Every single time they kill Nyx, they transition it into a tower push. They take down mid. Now they're all venturing top, going to contest this push.
If there's ever people kind of questioning did VG.J deserve an invite spot to the Kiev Major, I'm not saying, again, this alone is really justifiable, but I think it kind of helps people maybe understand a little bit more as why this team got an invite, again, even despite being a newer team. So they're showing that off right here. They're up 1-0, and again, this game's not over yet by any means, but they're already putting themselves in a great spot here, playing very cleanly. And there's going to be the Aegis pickup on DeFreeze as well, playing the Templar Assassin. So with that Blink, has the Aegis now, and they're going to keep on going. Oh, Crystal Maiden. Okay, she's out of range at least, but she, Nyx. Okay, he's going to scout them out, but they're going right for Crystal Maiden. They'll snowball in. That's a quick kill as the spin comes out. Nyx just has to sit there and watch his teammate fall. Can't do anything about it. And Aggressive. He's going to be going the Manta style, by the way. He has it queued up at least.
Okay, well, the 2 reasons why I justified it was for the... Well, Aggressive just likes Yasha in general, and I don't blame him. It's a very conducive... As Lifestealer dies up top, but meanwhile, trying to go in on Aggressive. Shards do not connect, though.
Out of range. But yeah, the turn kill on a Lifestealer at the top lane. Obviously, Centaur going up there and taking him out.
And Lifestealer didn't even get the chance to use Infest? Wow, he must have gotten bursted down really quick.
I don't think there was anything nearby. Yeah, the creeps were
okay.
gone, and he just simply got caught isolated right there, so not much he could do at that point. And he's taken out yet again. That's he's 0-3-1. His net worth only 5,600. He's 5th in the game overall. Does he have the armlet finished? He doesn't even have that finished yet. Ouch.
He went for the Midas first.
Oh,
so.
yeah, okay. What do you think about that? It seems a little, obviously greedy. That's what it is.
Yeah, it is greedy, and I mean it's a twofold Midas, because maybe on this Invoker, obviously Invoker always gets the Midas, and so you're really doubling down on being like, yes, our team is not going to be useful in the early game, and so I mean it's fine. the problem is that Axe wants to be useful early game, Nyx Assassin wants to be useful early game, and both these heroes have not really been doing very much. Nyx Assassin hasn't had a single successful vendetta on anyone yet. Axe has completed this Blink Dagger, and I don't really think he's been able to use it on any targets yet, so again, LGD's itemization versus the drafts that they pick. Meanwhile, his Lifestealer finds Fenrir, but Fenrir can just brave TP. Oh, he doesn't have a TP.
Who needs a TP?
Fine.
When you got team support nearby, Lifestealer, he runs into TA as well as a whole team here. He did not pop Rage, though. He gets hoofed up. A big counter from XC. Trying to set up a turn there on the Shrine. Again, this is bad fighting position for VG.J. The Coaling Blade coming out. Okay, it does eventually come out, actually, and secures the kill. Stampede activated by Center in the background to get away. They want to still fight this here, right? Without Juggernaut, they still want to make some plays. And Poker, he's going to be able to Ghost Walk in time. Will be fine. Free sitting there with the meld. Taking some good damage. The open wounds are on him, actually, and there's another Coaling Blade to cut him out. Aegis, though, going to be popped, of course. Double edge. Centaur, he'll end up falling. Trying to set up the kill to Axe. They will eventually get it, and they're still hanging tight. FY, he has a Shallow Grave on him. Now he pops that snowball. And looking to roll on out, go for the kill, and Invoker still maybe. Dazzle coming in with the heal, not enough damage, though. And it looks like maybe Rain will be fine. So VG.J, all right, maybe overstepping their boundaries a little bit right here. Sunstrike, boom, shakalaka. Double kill for maybe Rain. And that will be the end of it. So, yeah, fighting at the Shrine. Hey, it worked last game, not so much this time around.
Yeah, last game, though, they had a 10k net worth advantage. This game, they were at 2k. I mean, well, like, I guess 3k briefly, and that's not nearly enough to not only take a fight at the Shrine, but continue a fight at the Shrine. They had an opportunity to break out after the Juggernaut died. They had Stampede, and then they used Stampede to continue fighting, which... I mean, best case scenario, you get the Invoker, you slow down their Midas timings even more, or you punish them even harder for having Midases, but Axe was in the vicinity, and like I said, Axe wants to do stuff early, and he did a hell of a lot of stuff in that fight.
Yeah. That's definitely a feel-good fight right there for sure for LGD, because now, exactly, it's like now they're able to really start taking chances right here. You got Lifestealer inside Axe looking for an opportunity, trying to find this Juggernaut, but Aggressive does a good job of evading the attempt and poured out before he gets caught. So it's definitely got to give some hope for sure for LGD, and got to feel good about it. But that's not going to stop VG.J from being aggressive themselves. They do have Desolator now on TA. They're farming the other team's Ancients. In fact, bottom lane, trying to find a kill down here, but the poured out happens, and Crystal Maiden will survive as a result of that. Crystal Maiden going the Medallion herself, by the way, into a Solar Crest here, which has definitely been proven lately. I feel like, again, the Kiev major qualifiers, we actually saw quite a bit. Solar Crest being picked up more and more.
Yeah, Solar Crest has been a very underrated item for a long time, and so I'm glad that more and more teams are picking it up. But then, like, you give one item more love and then another one kind of falls off. I've been seeing fewer and fewer Glimmer Capes, but, I mean, this game, you definitely need the physical damage mitigation and the evasion with completing the full Solar Crest, because that's the other call you have to make, as meanwhile Juggernaut getting rotated on the mid lane.
Nyx, he kind of walks, thinks twice about it.
Team. Yeah, so like as a poor support, you need to think like, is the extra armor that the Solar Crest gives over the Medallion, that +5 armor, worth it? And is that evasion worth it? Because otherwise, I mean, for 1450 gold, you can make your way to a Ghost Scepter almost. So
yeah.
This game, it looks like Yao thinks that it's worth it. And against a Templar Assassin who's very bursty with her right clicks, needs to connect every single right click, I can understand why.
Aggressive takes the Sunstrike right there, but the Healing Ward already down. It's going to heal him back up a good amount. You see a Tornado coming through from Invoker, so gridded counter push, of course. Axe, Berserker's Call, he hit the TA, but he missed Juggernaut. And now Axe, he's trying to walk it off. Freezing Field from the behind right here, behind the tower that is. Meteor comes down on top of that disarm. Onto the TA, Shallow Grave's going to be put up. EMP in the midst of everyone. Tuskie's not a man. Omniside's bouncing around, but down goes Tusk, and down goes Centaur as well to the Coaling Blade right there. And that's a double kill for Exia with another Coaling Blade to top it all off. So fighting at the tower. VG.J really overstepping the boundaries now. We mentioned at the Shrine fight right here at the secondary tower, they go pretty deep, and it ends up biting them in the ass. But you got to give credit to LGD fighting that off, and now they're going for a turn push here.
Lifestealer has finally completed his armlet, and that's really all he needed to start being able to join in these bomb attempts and be able to take a team fight. Obviously, a big portion of that was compliments of maybe completing his Aghanim Scepter on this Invoker. That Deafening Blast immediately shut down TA, and like I said, she needs every one of her right clicks. If she's disarmed or if she's missing attacks, that cuts down a lot. She can't stick around in team fights. She just has a refraction, and then she's super squishy because, as we saw there, Shallow Grave is not going to be a reliable escape for anyone on VG.J.
Yeah. That Culling Blade's ready to go. Absolutely not. I've seen it now a couple of times in this game. And also, it's just, they were really clumped up. And Invoker's obviously, not only that, but Invoker Axe, I mean, you got that wombo combo essentially kind of right there. That's
they were
a combo.
clumped, but it was like they clumped themselves because really only the TA got caught by that taunt. The Juggernaut had moved out of the way. And then Tusk was just like, oh yeah, let's take this fight. And then he snowballs him and the Juggernaut into the Invoker, which, as you saw there, took advantage of that voluntary clumping that VG.J did. Meanwhile, bot lane.
Yeah, they catch Centaur, the Sunstrike coming out, and again, there's that combo. Talked about the Nyx Invoker combo, but Axe, of course, is the same idea once again. So XZ really feeling good now that Blade Mill finished. He has another 700 gold saved up, so I'm going to be curious to see what he queues up here in the near future. But talk about the momentum completely shifting this game, and the chart's definitely helping to reflect that. Both net worth as well as experience going now in favor of LGD. You have a Blink Dagger pick up on Invoker here, so his mobility just getting that much stronger. Now, if you're this Juggernaut here, he's working on a Diffusal Blade, but that's still a little bit away. Great synergy with the Mantis style, of course, but Juggernaut's going to need to start really picking up some good farm here in this game, because this is a game that's definitely going to start going more into the mid, even into the late game at this rate.
Yeah, which means that it's going to favor LGD's dual Midas pickups they were banking on being able to survive the early game, and partially due to missteps on VG.J and partially due to this, some amazing initiation on XZ's Axe, LGD are fighting their way back, and now they're pretty solidly in the advantage, even though the net worth is only slightly in favor of them. But just the fact that all these itemizations are coming together now, they scan out the Dire team near their shrine, but they don't know if the shrine is activated, so not really worth finding out the hard way.
You know, another item that I've been trying to sell quite a bit, not that that means much, obviously, but, again, hold that thought, because Axe going in with the Berserker's Call. He's going to miss right there. Actually, he didn't even use it, just simply a cancel coming out, but good reactions from TA. But the drums getting yet another buff in this most recent patch, and man, when you have a game like this where there's just so much fighting going on, this Berserker's Call is going to miss as he tried to catch FY there, and he throws up the Sigil. And now we have a turn kill a chance. Ice Path coming out, blocking him. The Walrus Punch on top of that. Mech used, though, because the bomb comes out with the Infest. And they'll both just run away from each other as Stampede is activated. So much for that big fight there.
They couldn't see Invoker, and if you don't know where Invoker is, every single time you Tusk Snowball, you're kind of asking to get comboed, so they backed off.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Drum did get a reasonable buff. The problem is that, who do you buy it on?
Yeah.
Because, like, it's not really a carry item anymore. Oh, man, they immediately put down that sentry. What a lucky sentry, but they don't want to go in on Nyx, because, again, you don't know where Invoker is.
Oh, there he is. Sunstrike, and there's the kill. Again, even if he puts the Shallow Grave up, he's going to be Culling Bladed anyway, so that's a dead Dazzle for 25 seconds now. This is going to be a mid-tower push. I don't know if they're willing to fight without their Dazzle. We're good 20 seconds here. Yeah, this is going to be successful, looks like. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess to kind of quickly, I would figure I'd probably like your offlane. In this game, even like the Tusk, you could argue, could have been a decent pickup here.
That's true, but Tusk is one of those unique offlane heroes, which he wasn't really in the offlane, but I see what you're getting at. But it's heroes that typically you put in the offlane that almost always they want the Blink Dagger. And if they're not going for the Blink Dagger, then they're going for some damage mitigation item like a Vanguard or a Pipe or something. And Drum is like this weird middle ground. It's like a utility item. It's kind of survivability as ROTK. Gonna get initiated on.
Yeah, Stampede, but man, that damage happens fast. But speaking of fast damage, Freeze in the background, nearly 3 shots on Nyx Assassin. The BKB popped as well, but Lifesteal, he's going toe-to-toe with the Juggernaut. Who's gonna win that battle in the background, though? Invoker, he's trying to run Ghost Walk, but out comes the Dust, and maybe Ren, he puts the Deafening Blast out on a TA, but aggressive, he's spinning on top. A nice tornado at the last second, though, and he's gonna make the escape on Invoker. Meanwhile, in the background, Lifestealer still doing his thing with the open wounds now up on a TA, and Templar Assassin Sunstrike just in case, not even needed. Down goes the Templar. Now Juggernaut, he splits up with the Mantis tile, but he's gonna end up falling most likely. He's trying to get the turn kill on Axe as Tusk comes in, but now aggressive, he needs to run. No Omni Slash, out comes the open wounds. It's gonna be enough for the kill before he can board out. Double kill for Ami right there, a 4-for-2 exchange. And guess who's up? It's Roshan.
You want to talk about uncommon items? Tell me what you see in the top right slot of this Lifestealer.
Whoa!
What?
That got buffed in 7.0 quite a bit, and did it even get changed this patch as well? I don't know if it did actually.
Let me see, actually, because
I don't think it did.
No, it didn't get touched. It didn't get touched in 7.03.
Yeah. But picked up a Lifestealer here. Yeah, what is your make on that as the evasion as well as the disarm? As actually couldn't hold that thought because Centaur now going to get jumped in with the impel opening, and down goes Dazzle as well. As I guess Centaur, he's still alive as he gets snowballed in, but he is going to shortly fall. They try to get the kill on Invoker, still not enough damage. Tusk, he's wanting to get the kill on a Roshan. He will actually not get the kill on a Roshan. He gets the kill on Invoker. He's still alive. Double kill coming out. Well, they got at least one kill on an important hero, that is, but Age is picked up by Lifestealer. And LGD, they're in total control now of this game.
Yeah, this Halberd pickup, like yet again, have always been singing the praise. Whenever, I think, as a caster, you're always trying to encourage that which you don't see very much. And so, like, I don't really know how good Halberd is. I'd never consider it to be a bad item. I mean, how bad could Disarm be, especially after it received all these buffs as Vendetta onto Aggressive, though he's going to continue.
He wants to make a play right here. He has Axe coming in. That's an illusion,
duped.
guys.
They get duped.
Wow.
Aggressive doesn't have TP, though. Okay, now he does.
He's good, right? Yeah. He is good.
Yeah, so I mean, I thought that Halberd's good. It got those buffs where you can't Manta it off, and I thought that was the buff that it really needed. The fact that it was getting dispelled made the item pretty much worthless. But evasion on strength heroes is very nice, and like I said, being able to disarm TA. I've said it for Invoker, I've said it for the mischance on CM's completed Solar Crest, and now I'll say it for the disarm on Heaven's Halberd with this Lifestealer. If this TA can't right-click people, then VG.J just don't have a core. They have a Juggernaut, and then they have Freeze, which now that he's completed a BKB, he's going to be more and more useful. But you saw how long Ame was able to sit in that fight with that evasion. He was basically at full HP the entire time in the mid lane. And then after that, he went to go take Roche. And then after Roche, he took another fight and still survived. So shout out to evasion.
Yeah, evasion definitely is a key component against the right click. That goes without saying right here. And correct me if I'm wrong real quickly, BKB does remove the disarm, right?
No.
I thought it did. Okay. Wow.
I'm like it's gotten changed multiple times, but I'm.
So I don't know where we're at right now. Okay.
Yeah, actually, I'm not 100%.
All right, Centaur, he's going to get caught by the freezing field initiation, by the way, with a snowball. We'll save for now, setting up some turn kill chance. Stampede activated. Crystal made it, though. He forced Staffs away. He's going to be fine. Nexus Assassin also living with the spiked carapace, but they did get the kill on a Crystal in the background. Now Juggernaut putting the auto attacks into Axe, and the crit's coming out to get him taken out. And now Ame, he ain't going to get away from this one. Omni Slash will help secure the kill into him. That's an Aegis kill. Invoker is nearby. So can he save his teammate as well as maybe set up some more turn? They still want to fight this. Buyback's being used. EMP coming out. Centaur's going to fall. And Knifesteer, not only is he fine, but this is definitely a fight now for LGD to take. The Berserker's call. He will land it right here onto Aggressive as they spot him at the last second. A triple kill for Invoker to finish the job. This Invoker has no doubt been clutch here in favor of LGD.
Oh yeah, maybe Rain for sure is the only reason that LGD was able to withstand that early game power from VG.J, and he's transitioning extremely well, completing a Shiva's Guard. So again, like this is slightly unconventional itemization. Typically on an Invoker at this stage you'll see something like the Octarine Core, or maybe even a Sheepstick. Very rarely will you see Shivas this early on, but LGD are all about physical damage mitigation. Armor on the Invoker, evasion on the Lifestealer, Solar Crest on the Crystal Maiden. It's all about making sure that they can just survive the burst, and then they know that they can take the long fight afterwards.
Hey, AC on Lifestealer as well. Yeah, they just got a lot of mitigation right here. TA, in fact, putting in the auto attacks. We see Lifestealer, he's just mans on up in the background. Centaur going in. He gets caught, though. The meatball comes down. The shallow grave will save TA for a split second right there as he's in the snowball as well. But as soon as he comes on out, Disarm still on him, and he will fall in the end. He does have a buyback. Juggernaut coming up right now, but Tusk and Centaur are dead with no buybacks. VG.J might just be giving it up right here. They're definitely giving it up the bottom, and if they don't buy back on TM, and it's going to be more right here. But
what can TA do? She comes back. She has her BKB, so that may help. But again, it's like one TA against the world.
Wow.
And they're going to call GG.
You know, there was a moment there, I almost want to say a little bit of caster's curse. I love using that term because I was praising VG.J, you know, talking about how this team just got invited, and if there's any reason why you didn't believe they deserved it, we're kind of seeing right here why they did. And I feel like shortly after that is when they started going for some of those YOLO fights that helped set up a turn. I mean, you got to give credit to LGD, obviously, but I do think VG.J almost were the reason for their demise in that game right there.
They may have been feeling themselves a little bit too much after that game one. Like, the aggression that VG.J, it paid off in the first game, but, like, you need to know when to reel it back. And the fact that LGD were more drafted, more better equipped with their draft to deal with that kind of aggression, you need to take that into consideration. And this game, LGD had much better itemization. In the game one, we talked about the Lina with her questionable Bloodstone, the Shadow Blade, and some other, like the Vanguard first on the Clockwork. It was all kind of, it didn't really go with their game plan. But this game, it all made sense. You have the Midas, you know that you can take the late game. Crystal Maiden with the physical damage mitigation, everyone really on LGD with the physical damage mitigation worked out beautifully. And altogether, their draft and their itemization worked out and gave themselves a victory in this game too.
It was impressive to watch by LGD right there. The comeback is real, and they tied up at 1 apiece. So all of a sudden, we got a game number 3 on our hands right here with VG.J and LGD here in this best of 3. So obviously our final game coming up, guys. This is our first match of 2 matches to come today, at least on this stream. Of course, Invictus Gaming versus VG Gaming going to be coming up next. But we got to finish off this series first. VG.J versus LGD, this double elimination bracket, our first round matchup. Who will be advancing on to the winners? Who will go down to the losers? Well, we'll find out next, guys. I'm Breaker CPK, joined by Tsunami. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be right back.